So we'll try this video once again. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now YouTube channel. I tried to cut the post-game video at the arena, but they were tearing it down for a concert or something, and it was just a bit of pandemonium on the event level. So here's the deal. The Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Nashville Predators 5-4 in overtime. The huge takeaway from the game, both in the locker room and my takeaway, was that the Pittsburgh Penguins are finally learning how to win games. Now, it's easy to win games when you're the better team, be it talent-wise or, you just have it over the other team that night. If they have their road legs or they're flat, it's easy to win games in those instances. Though the Penguins still struggled with that sometimes. But what they did Thursday night in Nashville, they were chasing the game, and they were getting outplayed, and they were making piles of mistakes, and they were sloppy, and yet they won. Resilience is a word that's long been used by Mike Sullivan and players, but they're learning. They're finally learning how to win a game with their B game or their C level game. And they did just that on Thursday. Make no mistake, let's get into the mistakes, because I think a lot of you want to, what did they do wrong? And get excited about that. The Penguins were impatient with the puck. A bad shot against Nashville and their up-tempo counterattack, their up-tempo rush game. They really do try to play. One of the players told me a few days ago that Nashville wants to play a fun style. So a bad shot it's essentially a turnover. You saw that with Michael Bunting 3 minutes into the game. Now, the puck most likely hit the netting, but Nashville transitions and scores on an odd man rush, Jonathan Marchessault. Side note, Mike Sullivan couldn't challenge that play because the puck hit the net in the offensive zone. I mean, every player stopped. Every player in the Penguins locker room that I asked was adamant, it hit the net. Every guy said it hit the net. They all saw it. The referees didn't see it. Sullivan couldn't. What a stupid loophole, huh? If you can challenge for hitting the net, it should be anywhere on the ice. I digress. So the Penguins get down early 1-0. Just twice this season, Tristan Jarry has made it to 5 consecutive saves to start a game. And the sad part was he made a brilliant save in the first 90 seconds of the game on Nashville's first shot. You began to wonder, Jarry's dialed in. And then something completely fluky and stupid like that happens. That's the kind of thing that would have just melted the Penguins for the first 2 months of the season. They would have thrown up their hands and said, to hell with it. Packed up and skated out the next 58 minutes or 57 minutes just, to get home. Not anymore. If you read the PHN report card, Brian Russ said we're getting the hang of this. And Sidney Crosby kind of alluded to it. And Mike Sullivan said that's what I'm most proud of about these guys is their compete level, their resilience. And that was on full display on Thursday. What else was on full display Thursday? Some guy named Sidney Crosby. 4 points, a goal, and 3 assists, but not just the stat sheet. That guy, it was a vintage Sidney Crosby performance, carrying Ryan O'Reilly around the defensive zone, literally carrying him on the sequence that led to Erik Karlsson's game-tying goal. When O'Reilly's just all over his back, Crosby lunges to slap the puck back to the blue line, then over to Karlsson for that tying goal. Sullivan also alluded to it, though, because that wasn't the end of the game. They get down 4-3, and once again you think, this is where they quit then. Because if ever there was a game for the Penguins to crash back to earth and become that team we saw in the first couple of months, If that was the Leopards' true spots, tonight was the game they would have showed it. And that's why I think it is entirely plausible, entirely possible to begin thinking of the Penguins in different terms now, because of how they responded to going down 4-3 against Nashville, which was playing better than them. Nashville began to get chippy. They were throwing some punches, and they were scrumming. They were trying to intimidate the Penguins out of the game and close it out. Instead, they made the Giant mad. The Penguins really surged after it became 4-3 Nashville. You could just see everybody elevate. Crosby especially, Brian Rust, Rickard Rakell, along with Crosby. Really, the blood and guts line of the Penguins is their top line. If there's ever been a greater blood and guts player than Crosby, I certainly don't know it. Brian Rust, same way. And don't undersell Rickard Rakell being a guy who's playing really great hockey. Hard on the forecheck, playing between the dots. He's doing so much that this is, last year was probably one of his worst years in the NHL. This year is really shaping up to be one of his best. His goal, fluky, luck. But, there again, Rust goes to the net. Rakell throws it that way, hits off Lazon's stick, and flutters behind Saros. So the Penguins figuring it out. I think that's kind of it is genuine cause for optimism. Not just, look, Crosby hadn't scored in 10 games and they were 7-2-1. Crosby starts to score and they win again. Also, Tristan Jarry. I kind of flubbed my question to him in the postgame. I wasn't direct like I like to be. The reality is he is reclaiming or has reclaimed that number one spot. Look, Alex Nedeljkovic beats the LA Kings. Jarry's back in the net. That was not the case. That was not how Mike Sullivan ran the goaltending carousel or the rotation in the first 2.5 months of the season, right? If you won, you stayed in. Well, Nedeljkovic won, but Jarry comes back in. If you need any sort of, writing or warning flares to tell you, it's Jarry who's now reestablished himself as the number one goalie. And despite stopping only 22 of 26, by the way, Saros only stopped 15 of 20 shots. The goaltenders' stats on Thursday were terrible. The goaltenders themselves were pretty good, actually. It was a unique game in that sense that there wasn't a lot of shots on net that were wasted. Now, the Penguins wasted a lot of errant shots, hoping for tips and hoping for garbage. But, they only put 20 on net, and Nashville only had 26 on net. Jarry probably made a dozen really good saves. You might argue he was too deep on one or two of the goals. You'll find a friend with me in that argument, but when you take the totality of everything, Jarry played really well. Those were not soft goals. Those were a lot of good looks by a lot of good players. And, hey, the Penguins win. The Penguins actually get a day off on Friday. They were supposed to practice at a local municipal rink here in Nashville, and they said, nah. So I suspect the boys got the green light. If you're in Nashville and you see the video late at night, you might bump into a couple of Pittsburgh Penguins. Just my hunch. The guys kind of had a little mischievous smile in the locker room. They enjoyed the win, but I think they're also going to enjoy Nashville a little bit. So now we're off to Newark. A day in New York City on Friday might not be bad either. So that's where I'm headed next, to Newark, and then home to Pittsburgh for the holidays. Do me a favor, like and subscribe to the PHN channel. Also, check out PHN Plus, the exclusive content, the behind-the-scenes stuff, like us talking to Philip Tomasino and Cody Glass about their revenge game against Nashville. By the way, Tomasino had a couple of good rips. Cody Glass was trying. He was I think he was a little more affected by the game than Tomasino. Tomasino was on his toes, but Saros just sort of gobbled up those scoring chances. But we talked to both of those guys about the revenge game in Nashville, one-on-one conversations. And by the way, you can thank Dave Molinari. Our own Dave just went blunt with Sidney Crosby on Wednesday when he's like, "Yeah, about your scoring slump." And Sid smiled and said, "Well, good. It's about time. Whenever someone asks about it, usually things turn around. It's about time you asked." He literally said that. And, Crosby has the big game. So check out PHN Plus. Join this rock and roll party. Your support gets you the ad-free experience every day, plus the exclusive content. And, it keeps us on the road. I don't know if you've noticed this or not. The newspapers aren't traveling 100% like they used to. The last two outlets to travel 100% are me and the other independent guy. Kind of crazy, isn't it? And it's not easy, it's not cheap, and it's not always fun, but we do it because we love it. So thank you for your support, patronage, and we're in Nashville at the lovely La Quinta Inn and Celebrity Spa, where I will be doing more writing. No Nashville partying for me. I will see you tomorrow from Newark. We'll try to do a podcast, but I have nothing to say. The larger picture is kind of boring, isn't it? When they're winning, you're bored, and I don't know what to tell you. All right, from Nashville, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now and the National Hockey Now YouTube channel.